Hello, welcome. This is a clip from a larger video I made about the Sweet Life on Deck that is on my main channel. If you haven't seen that yet, then feel free to go check it out. It's around 2 hours long, and I've had this idea for a while now to, take chunks from that video that are over like 10 minutes long and make them into standalone videos just for people to enjoy outside of that whole 2-hour experience. And I've been thinking of doing just more than vloggy style stuff on this side channel, maybe more podcasty type things where I talk about general opinions and thoughts I have on shows I've already reviewed but never ended up including in that original video. As well as just like some topics that I really only have a few thoughts and opinions on that I couldn't make into a larger video, and, at least have some sort of supplemental content as I'm working on my big giant decom video project. So if you're coming here from my main channel, then feel free to subscribe, and if you're seeing my channel for the first time, feel free to subscribe to this channel and my main channel. Consider this like a casual vloggy clips style channel that I'm not really gonna focus too much on posting consistently, but we'll have fun, just doing whatever comes to my mind. Honestly, I probably would upload these videos to my main channel if it wasn't for the fact that I'm currently working on the decom project, and I just think it would look really satisfying on my channel if all 3 parts were next to each other in a row. So, that's the only real reason why I'm doing this over here. Thank you for listening to this very rambly intro, and on to me talking about Cody and Bailey. Oh god, we're finally gonna do it. We're doing it, guys. This might be the longest segment in the entire video, just based off of the amount of paragraphs I've already written. It's gonna, strap in, guys. We're in for a long haul. The Cody-Bailey relationship is definitely the most interesting element of the show, in my opinion. Of course, the breakup in Paris is truly iconic, the Twister 3-parter is truly iconic, and what they do with their characters throughout Season 3 once they're broken up is very interesting as well. Before they got together, I think it was smart to have Cody and Bailey be a slow burn into their relationship, and for them to wait for the entirety of Season 1 to get together. But I also think it was imperative for them to get together sooner rather than later in the show. I'm pretty sure other shows have proved how a boy constantly pining after a girl in a case of unrequited affection can get tiring over time, especially if there's never a plan to fulfill that relationship in the first place. Luckily, I can tell the Sweet Life team always had their relationships planned out, and they did a decent job of working on their kinship during the chaos of a crossover episode. I wish the two had acknowledged more often that Hannah Montana is the reason they got together at the end of Season 1. I wanted to talk about the breakup in Paris right away, but, there's a whole season of them being together before that. In Season 2, a lot of their relationship is very honeymoon phase, I would say, where they giggle at each other's jokes and they're very lighthearted and very rarely do they fight. A lot of the plot lines surrounding them actually have to deal with them wanting to spend more time together but not being able to because of external sitcom forces. And a lot of the jokes they do with the two is them sneaking out to kiss, and only kiss, because it's a Disney Channel show. So multiple times throughout the show you'll see them sneaking out past curfew to kiss. Let's move on. Of course, they do fight occasionally. Like I said in the school assignment episode where they have to pretend to be married, they do end up fighting because Cody takes advantage of Bailey's kindness, and I think that was a Disney Channel way of simulating what a deadbeat husband and overworking wife kind of situation might be. Cody fake breaks his legs and is just an absolute nuisance towards Bailey. And they resolve the issue at the end of the episode, but they don't really resolve the real root of the problem, which is that Cody is an extremely selfish person. I think it's finally time to talk about the breakup in Paris, guys. I have so many opinions on this episode, it's just so good. First off, I think the balance of other stuff to the main plot, which is, Cody and Bailey's anniversary, is done pretty well. Maybe I'm just a corny fool, but I think Zach and Woody accidentally stealing a painting and running from French thugs is very funny, and all of the cheap sets and bad green screen just adds to my enjoyment tenfold. Again, it's like the stupid fairy tale episode all over again. I know people hate fairy tale episodes and sitcoms, but I don't know, I just love the Zach and Cody one. I'm perfectly content with y'all thinking this B-plot is childish and lame. I understand it's not for everybody. At its worst moments, this show is basically a cartoon, and it doesn't always work, but I can handle this moment because it's intercut with the real relationship drama of Cody and Bailey. But I understand if people think that intercutting cheapens both stories. I get both sides of it. See, this is what having a real sibling is like. You call your brother on the phone and you're like, "Hey, how was your day?" And it's like, "Yeah, today was awful. I broke up with my longtime girlfriend on our anniversary and bawled my eyes out for hours. What about you?" "Oh, me? I jumped out of an airplane and saved an important painting from being stolen. It was awesome." But beyond the stolen painting and the runners of Mosby accidentally winning the Tour de France and Marcus trying to clear a case of stolen identity, there's Cody and Bailey at the center. Bailey is basically being harassed all day by this French painter who wants to date her, but she stays adamant in the fact that, she cares for Cody and doesn't want to cheat on him, even if it's something as simple as, talking with him for more than, 30 minutes at a time. Meanwhile, Cody is doing a run-through of his anniversary date with London to make sure it turns out right. I like Cody and London together in plots like this. It lets London as a character kind of come back down to reality for a bit and be the straight man in opposition to Cody's eccentricities. Another example of Cody living in that world of delusions because he was never told he could be wrong before in his life, etc., etc. That element of his character is actually what mainly leads to their breakup in the first place, at least in my opinion. Now, I'm not on Bailey's side when she decided to seek comfort in that French painter after thinking she saw Cody flirt with another girl in the Eiffel Tower during their anniversary, because in reality, it's not like Cody has done that before. It really doesn't seem in his nature, but I'm not going to say that Bailey's reaction was completely out of character either. I think the two of them consistently refuse to communicate with one another when there's been a misunderstanding, mainly because they're characters in a sitcom, so they kind of need to be that way for certain plots to go on. But I'm okay with it because Bailey not communicating with Cody after this interaction isn't something I'm against, and it actually seems like, something that her character would actually do. And I actually think the fight that leads to their breakup is, pretty well balanced. I was kind of waiting for some silly moment that leads to them officially splitting, some off-the-wall random statement that, you would never expect either one of them to say, but that doesn't really happen. They just say some really rude things to each other, and after hearing those things, they mutually agree that they need to break up. It's sad that a silly misunderstanding like this would lead a 1-year relationship to be separated for so long, but I think it's definitely realistic, especially for two teenagers. So I think that's one of the main reasons why I think their relationship is one of the best elements of the series, when it comes to them being together, and also when it comes to them being broken up. Now, the fallout of their breakup throughout Season 3 is really cool to watch play out, especially since huge revelations with their characters will play out in relatively unimportant scenes that are mainly played for comedy. So, allow me to explain the evolution of their entire relationship throughout Season 3. So Episode 1 shows them heartbroken and attempting to get over their relationship in their own special ways. Cody becomes a monk, and Bailey and London are mean to Miss Tutwiler for no reason.
For a little help with a book report on War and Peace.
Have you tried reading it?
Good one, Friar Yuck. You seen the size of this thing? This is a cinder block. That Leo Toy Story was a real windbag.
Episode 2 shows them being nasty towards each other and attempting split custody after putting their child up for adoption finally. The child being a rat, and they give the rat to Kirby. I was just going to leave that joke as it is, but I felt the need to explain that they don't actually have a child, because this show does some pretty absurd stuff, so it's a rat. They have a rat child. It's a pet. Episode 3 shows them trying to prove they moved on by dating other people, only to come to the general understanding that they're not ready for that yet, but they're also not ready to be on good terms. As Woody says in his signature catchphrase, it's a bit awkward. Episode 7 is Cody dating a computer. Just ignore that aspect. All you need to know is that Cody realizes he wants to be in a relationship again and is tired of being alone. Episode 8 shows them still getting along, but due to another miscommunication, leaves Cody to think that all women are evil harpies looking to destroy men at every step of the way. This is also the episode with Sean Kingston in it. Truly one of the worst episodes of the entire show. I swear, it's so bad. I wish Maya and Zach didn't get together in this episode, because I wouldn't have to think about it so often. Cody is ready to start a relationship again, and misinterprets Bailey as thinking the same thing, and she breaks his heart literally as well as metaphorically. Cody then acts like a beta male when trying to give Zach advice to his new girlfriend, and he's an idiot in the next episode. Truly one of the lowest moments for him in the entire show, the season 3, episode 9, episode Love and War, it's bad. He's on evil mode in this episode, I swear.
Captain, and the guys needed me.
Why didn't you just tell me that?
Yeah. Zach! Why didn't you just tell her? What, are you scared of your girlfriend or something?
In episode 13, Bailey sees Cody going on a date with another girl, and he actually seems to be enjoying himself. In episode 13, Bailey sees Cody going on a date with another girl, who's Woody's sister, and he actually enjoys himself, which now makes her realize that she wants to get back together with him, flip-flopping the dynamic halfway through the season, which is what they always do in sitcoms like this. This is Ross and Rachel all over again, guys. Actually, if I'm going to keep up the How I Met Your Mother analogy, this is Robin and Ted all over again. And guess what Zach and London's stunt double do in the B-plot? Some more weird shit. Episode 16 then has Cody write a play about their breakup to vent all of his frustration out through his classmates in a way that hurts Bailey so much that she literally leaves the boat to visit her family for a bit. I lied. This is actually Cody's lowest moment in the entire show. It was really bad. It was a really bad decision of his. It's only in that moment, when he sees how much he's hurt Bailey, does he realize that he's actually shared some of the blame for the breakup, all the way back in the season 2 finale. He really thought that she was the only one in the wrong this whole time. This episode was very important for his development as a character, because they could not have gotten back together up until this moment now, since Cody was still refusing to believe that he had done anything wrong and had any fault in their breakup. Their relationship would not have worked long term if Cody hadn't done some serious growth at that exact moment in the show. This is when the Twister 3-parter happens, which, if you cut all the filler out, is probably only really a 2-parter, but that's besides the point, in which the two reunite after Cody shows he cares about Bailey by saving her family's farm. I think them getting back together in this way is a little bit contrived, like they're like, well, the 3-parter is about them getting back together, so they have to. But, I mean, I'm glad they're back together. And, Cody did all the work he needed to, so it ended up working out. Because Bailey realized she was in the wrong quite a while ago in season 3, like she figured it out much faster than him, so that's why it took him so long to finally get on her level when it comes to being ready for a relationship again. After the Twister 3-parter, there's only 3 more episodes left in the entire show, and only the B-plot of one of those episodes really analyzes what the relationship is going to be like now after the breakup. This is the first episode where both Cody and Zach have girlfriends, and only in the beginning scene do they really acknowledge that and kind of reference it as a thing that exists, because after that the two split off, as they always do in the later episodes of the series, and Cody's plot revolves around him realizing that Bailey doesn't think he's funny. I guess what this is supposed to mean for the show is that while Cody and Bailey might be together again, all of the honeymoon glamour and glitz of their relationship is definitely gone, and they're going to be much more serious and honest with each other with their emotions going forward. And of course the prom episode has Bailey being so obsessed with becoming prom queen that she sort of ignores Cody during the whole thing, reflecting the yes honey point of the relationship they might get into, but the show does end by showing that, that's not the case, that they do still have good communication with one another, and they're able to get along, and Cody isn't just, being dragged by her, if that makes sense. I think they acknowledged that that's where their relationship could go, but that's not where it's going to go. And I think that's really important because the next episode, which is the finale, really puts their relationship to the ultimate test. Also, something I find really interesting is the relationship or lack of relationship that Maya and Bailey have. Because I'm pretty sure they only interact with each other once in the entire show, and it's not a positive interaction. So I don't know what they were trying to do there. I don't want to pit women against each other. That's not my thing. I don't want them to have beef. I want them to be besties. So I don't know what they were doing here. They should have figured that out before the show ended, but whatever. They probably were just being lazy.
Why do you guys care so much about this prom queen thing? I just want to have fun.
I see what you're doing.
What?
Pretending you don't care about being prom queen when you really do. I mean, you obviously read that study on how false humility appeals to voters.
No, I didn't. I don't have a subscription to Psycho Chick Monthly.
Oh, you want to make this campaign about mudslinging? Because no one slings mud like me, sister.
Listen, okay,
Ladies,
please.
I'm a hard worker.
The finale does a very shocking thing with Cody's character that was very, very smart and was probably something they had planned from the very beginning. Cody and Bailey both applied to Yale, and the reason why Cody specifically wants to go to Yale is because all throughout the original series, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, he wanted to go to Harvard, but then in a season 1 episode of On Deck, he accidentally ends up, dating the daughter of the admissions officer, so he gets in a fight with the guy who's the head of admissions at Harvard, and so he's basically never guaranteed, a spot at Harvard ever. He's never going to be allowed into that building ever again. So at that point, he decides he wants to go to Yale. So him and Bailey apply to Yale together, and we find out that Cody didn't get in, but Bailey did. So now Cody must navigate what his life is going to be like now that he's not getting into his dream college, or possibly not even getting into any Ivy League at all, when that's the only thing he's really planned for himself since the very beginning. And Bailey has to grapple with the fact that she might have to, break up with her boyfriend for the second time already. And during graduation, they are co-valedictorian, which I think was a cop-out. They should have just made Bailey valedictorian, because they end up sharing a speech. Because during that shared speech, she admits to everyone that she'd rather stay with him and not go to Yale, because she'd rather, continue their relationship than, start this opportunity on a different part of the world. But, the episode does end with them confirming that Bailey is going to go to Yale, but they're going to stay together, possibly long distance at this point, because the show leaves open-ended what Zack and Cody are going to do at the finale, for a very specific reason, which I'll explain later. So their relationship ends on a very mature note, that, even though they are high school sweethearts, they're clearly in it for the long run, and they've been together for long enough to where we can truly understand that, this is something that they should legitimately consider, which, is a different situation from Zack and Maya.